this is the moment where I get to sit back and listen to you, Dr. Irfan, teaching us something that can really benefit us, and in a way that actually is quite interesting and quite easy to understand. And I appreciate that very much from you.
Yes.
Abu Sadiq has given you a lot of knowledge of how to heal the mind, body and soul of the individual.
Yes.
And I think that it would benefit all of us to go ahead. And by the way, I would like to add here, I'm not sure if you know this, Dr. Irfan, but a lot of our people in the comments and a lot of our viewers who contact us have all said, out of all the segments on the show, they always look forward to Medicine of the Mahdis. So, no pressure, but please, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Ali. And before you sit back, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Now, in terms of condiments, things that you have on the side of the dishes, what is your favorite condiment?
Oh, my goodness. It has to be mustard.
Mustard?
Yes.
That's a pretty good one. But it's not the one I'm thinking of.
What were you hoping to say?
And it's not the prophetic one. So we'll change that. Hopefully by the end of the segment, I'll have converted Alia from mustard to vinegar, which is the topic of the Medicine of the Mahdis segment today on the show. So vinegar, this won't be a particularly long one, but it'll be short and sour. So let's go into it. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said many things about vinegar, and the Ahlul Bayt also mentioned its host of benefits. The Prophet Muhammad famously said, "It is the best of condiments, for it is the condiments of the prophets and the messengers," or the source of the prophets and the messengers. And Imam al-Sadiq, from him his peace, the sixth Imam, also said that vinegar sharpens the intellect, and it has many benefits. So this is certainly a medicine that the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt have talked about, and it's something I want to draw your attention to today. And hopefully it becomes your condiment of choice as well. It's interesting that the Prophet would describe it as a condiment. And he often used to say, when his meals were prepared and he would have his bread, and he ate a very, very basic diet. The food of the prophets and the messengers is, of course, bread. He said, but if you must have a condiment with the bread, let it be vinegar. And he used to praise vinegar, and he used to dip his bread in the vinegar and eat it in that fashion. And it's interesting that he specifically said, and Imam al-Sadiq said, that it's the best of the condiments, because vinegar, as we know, is acidic in nature. It has a pH of approximately between 2 and 3, and therefore, if consumed directly, for example, in a spoon, and you take it in, which is a lot of the way people take it, it can actually corrode over time the enamel of the teeth. So in that regard, it's not the ideal way to take it. So when you take it as a condiment, for example, you sprinkle balsamic vinegar over your salad, or you add, another great way to take vinegar, by the way, is to put the vinegar inside some water. So in about 250 mils, maybe half a tablespoon or a couple of teaspoons of vinegar, give it a mix. That's another way to drink it down and protect your teeth at the same time. And vinegar has a whole host of benefits. So first and foremost, vinegar, how is it produced? Let's understand how this great condiment is produced, because you'll understand how it benefits you. Well, basically, it's produced through a process that we call fermentation. And it is usually, it happens when alcohol or ethanol in a particular food is converted to acetic acid by certain yeasts and enzymes that are found in the vinegar. So for example, one very well marketed type of vinegar that I'm sure everyone's heard of, because it's all over YouTube and TikTok and everybody's talking about it, is apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's the best vinegar out there, it's just the best marketed vinegar out there. And because it is so well known, its benefits are usually more subscribed to than the other types of vinegar. Other types of vinegars are just as good. Balsamic vinegar is just as good. But the apple cider vinegar, you'll have seen this a lot, like I said, and they say it should be raw, unpasteurized, organic. They put all these labels on it, but essentially it's the same kind of thing. And when I talk about balsamic vinegar, that's from grapes. So apple cider vinegar comes from apple cider. Balsamic vinegar comes from grapes or grape juice. And you have other types of vinegar like malt vinegar, which for example comes from barley grains. and other such things as well. So there isn't actually a preference for the type of vinegar, nor is there mention of what type of vinegar was used by the Prophet Muhammad, but vinegar in general is an amazing thing to be able to take. Now, one of the things in vinegar that you will have seen, especially if you buy the raw unfiltered type that is most talked about in terms of its health benefits, is the mother. They say on the label, the mother. What does this mean exactly?
What is that?
This, it's an interesting term to use. And you know that cloudiness that you see in the vinegar? That cloudiness that you see in the vinegar is basically the beneficial bacteria or that probiotic element that actually are responsible for converting that ethanol in these fruits into vinegar, into what we call acetic acid. And this is what, of course, gives vinegar its sour taste and also a lot of its beneficial properties. But when you are drinking vinegar or using it as a condiment, you're taking in these probiotics. And there is so much now talk in the medical fields and health circles about the gut microbacteria that are being eradicated slowly due to super processed foods that we're eating. The Western diet has actually waged war on the gut. And the gut microbiome is so essential to your health that any type of bacteria that increase and flourish these good bacteria is going to take away so many issues. You've heard of leaky gut syndrome, where things are leaking out of the gut, and there's all kinds of postulations about how things leaking from the gut can cause things like eczema and dermatitis and all these allergic kind of diseases that we see. But the gut bacteria does so much more. So if you're somebody who has invested large sums of money in these probiotics, which can cost quite a packet, then actually if you buy the vinegar with the mother, it'll replace that thing that you have to pay like 20 to 30 pounds plus in terms of getting your good flora going in your gut. So vinegar provides that. Vinegar also increases insulin sensitivity. What is insulin sensitivity? Well, basically, when you have the most common type of diabetes that we see, type 2 diabetes mellitus, you are producing a whole host of insulin. Your pancreas is churning the insulin out. The problem is that it's not effective enough. It doesn't do its job, which is what? To take sugar and glucose and push it back into cells. What happens if the sugar remains out and the insulin is not working properly? It causes stickiness in the smaller blood vessels. And then, of course, all the problems of diabetes that we see, from ulcers to blocked heart vessels, blocked vessels in your brain, to all the other issues that are related to diabetes, going blind, kidney damage, etc. They happen. So apple cider vinegar actually helps with this aspect. It also helps to reduce and take away fat. Now, I don't understand the exact mechanics of it, but they're saying that it's because of the presence of these healthy bacteria that are helping in metabolism of fat and increasing metabolism in general. There have been, although not any solid studies, but they're saying that even with fatty liver disease, if you suffer from this type of liver disease, by the way, which is going to now very soon exceed liver damage done from alcohol consumption or overconsumption of alcohol, then apple cider vinegar is a great tool, or vinegar in general is a great tool to address this particular problem as well. So it helps against diabetes, it improves your metabolism, it can taste great if you like the taste of vinegar. It's truly one of those prophetic medicines and the condiment of choice that you should keep if you want to drizzle your salad with a bit of vinegar or have it first thing in the morning in a glass of water. So make this your condiment of choice. Get rid of that ketchup. Ketchup's not going to help. I know it tastes great, but it is absolutely loaded with sugar and salt, and that proportion of sugar and salt can only be mixed in this ketchup that is produced. By the way, the government in this country, in the United Kingdom, actually forced these tomato ketchup manufacturers to put on their labels that this is very, very high sugar stuff, just very much in the same way as they do on the labels of cigarettes. So it is really one of the unhealthiest things that you can have. Wean yourself off and put yourself on the condiment of the prophets, vinegar. I hope I've given a clear explanation of the benefits of vinegar. By the way, vinegar also represents a really good alternative to the cleaning aspect of when you are, for example, you have a spray, an antibacterial spray, which has a whole host of other chemicals in it, some of which don't really break down, and exposure, especially to children, can cause irritation around the eyes. It can cause allergic reactions on the hands. People who are cleaners, for example, and anyone who has a home and they want to keep it clean, why not change to vinegar? Vinegar does kill microbes. It's known to do so. It has a low pH, and that environment can actually damage the outside linings or the cell membranes of viruses and bacteria quite effectively. And it smells quite pleasant as well. Yeah. So vinegar also is a very good antimicrobial, and it can be used as a cleaning product as well.
I definitely have to say that I am sold, and I'm definitely going to start doing what you're saying, because mustard was not mentioned at all in that in that spiel. Yes. And I think that definitely, if we take heed of what you're saying,
to be honest, I haven't done a literature review on mustard.
Perhaps there is more to it.
Exactly. So let's not exclude it just yet, but definitely ketchup.
No more ketchup. A lot more vinegar.
A lot more vinegar.